What's up, Vape Fam? Today we've got another sub-ohm tank for you. This one is the Mouse Tank by CCI or Cloud Chasers Inc. You may have heard of them before, you may have some of their products. Before we drone on too much though, we're going to go ahead and go in for the up close and breakdown to see what makes a vape. Alright guys, here we are up close with the Mouse Tank from CCI or Cloud Chasers Inc. This is the packaging it comes in. Nice little tin. Just a little bit of branding. Everything else is blank. Pop the top off. You have your little instruction manual. It is actually a pretty funny read. I recommend you look through it. It cracked me up a little bit. It's not real detailed on how to actually use the tank, but the tank is pretty straightforward. The instructions are more just a little bit of a gimmick, a little bit of a joke. So give it a read, give it a look through. Now you have your bag of O-rings, a spare little insulator. Put that to the side. You have an extra piece of glass. I always love when I get an extra piece of glass along with the tank because accidents happen. I'll put that over there. You have your spare coil over here. There. You have your 510 adapter, 510 top cap. I'll show you that in a minute. It's really easy, simple. It works the same way as the top fill method. Push it down, turn it into place. Put that to the side for now. And then you have your tank. Nothing else in here, no other little goodies. The tank itself, protruding 510, nice threads, top cap, top fill, push down, quarter turn, pop it off. You've got your two fill ports inside there. You can see there's two little knuckles that slide into the grooves on the side, so you gotta make sure you line those up when you put the cap back on, and then just give it another quarter turn, it's back in place. So putting that aside, the bottom base, just take it off. Bottom base and coil. As you can see here, let me turn the airflow open. You have two wide Cyclops airflow slots. The airflow on this thing is crazy, and I'll show you this. On the bottom of the coil, you've got massive airflow through the bottom of the coil. These coils are big. And then you have a giant ID on the coil itself. I mean, you can see my hand through the bottom there. It is just ridiculous. The airflow is crazy. I'm going to pull apart the 0.2 here in a second. There is your deck. This is their insulator that they put on the bottom of the decks. Just keeps the heat from transferring from the tank down into your mod. It actually works pretty well too. Copper pin in the bottom. Tank and chimney is double O-ringed on both sides of the glass. Just pop it off, and then you have it fully disassembled for cleaning. See the threads, the top chimney cap in here, and again, big wide open airflow. Give me a second, we'll pull the 0.2 coil apart. Alright, here's the 0.2 coil. It is a Kanthal coil. Come on. This positive pin is really tight in there. There's the positive pin. Again, you can see just how wide open that airflow is through that pin. It's crazy. Have our little insulation ring. And then you have your wire. It is dual wire, so it is a dual core coil. There we go. So you can see the cotton. It is a little bit dirty. The wire itself is black though. I had some issues with this one. It really didn't seem to want to keep up at the maximum wattage range that it suggested. You see, it is a dual coil. It is kind of all wrapped up on itself. The wire is, like I said, black. It's a decent gauge. It almost looks like a 26 gauge dual coil. I would have to check that though. And then you have the housing. It still has the mesh screen in it. The mesh screen is obviously their anti-spitback design. And just right there. Just stops juice from spitting up into the chimney. And then you have like a two-piece inner barrel design. You have that piece of metal, and then between that is a piece of cotton. And then you had the cotton wrapped around the coil itself. So that's it for the coil breakdown. Alright, so reassembly of this tank, pretty straightforward. You're going to put your glass and chimney together like so. It just presses right in. Put the coil into the base. After you prime it, you're going to want to put some juice on the cotton. Here we go. I'm using Trip from Detroit Rock Candy. It was an old favorite of mine. Finally got some more. Just put some on the cotton, all 4 circles. Make sure that it gets wet and saturated. Make sure that you can see it getting wet and saturated. I like to run a little bit around the top and let it leak through down into the cotton from there as well. Come on. Just screw the top cap and glass back over the coil like so. There you go. And the 510 adapter cap works the same way as the other cap. You just push it in to the slots, line it up, turn it into place. And then you can run your 510 tips on it. I have been preferring this chuff cap though, so I'm going to run that. Like so. Filling's easy. Just take your juice, line it up with one of the holes, squirt it down in. And there you have it. Pop your top cap back on. Now it's all filled up and ready to go. So we will go back up and we'll talk about it a little bit and we'll vape on it. Alright guys, that was the up close and breakdown with the mouse tank from CCI Cloud Chasers Inc. Finally, a tank that's easier to pronounce, the mouse tank, M-A-U-S. So this tank is, they have another tank, the Triforce or Trifecta tank depending on when you bought it. And the comparison between the two, the Triforce tank is made for cloud chasers. I don't think anybody's going to debate that. I mean, the flavor wasn't horrible, it wasn't like bad or anything like that. It's just that it really produced a lot of vapor, a really dense vapor. This one produces more flavor, but less density. The airflow on this thing is crazy, just absolutely nuts, wide open. There's like no restriction to it. I mean, it is a very, very airy vape when it's wide open. You will almost certainly end up turning it down, especially if you want good density out of your clouds, because I do find it thins it out quite a bit with that much airflow rolling through it. I am running the 0.5 ohm coil in the mouse tank, and it is rated up to 80 watts. So despite that, I've been running it on a series box. It's getting around 7 volts right now. I mean, it's been working fine. It is wicking really well. CCI, the booth at VPX, is actually the one that said go ahead and run on a series box, so I have been. I've really been enjoying it. It's been good on a series box. I've been loving the 0.5 ohm coil. The 0.2 ohm coil I had some issues with. It didn't seem to want to hold up at the 120 watts, which its maximum rating is 120 watts. It just seemed to dry hit at the tail end of my pulls. Maybe it was the juice I was using, I don't know, but I had a couple issues with it, and you saw it in the breakdown. It was pretty gunked up, pretty crappy looking. That was only maybe a week's usage. It burned up pretty good. I've really been enjoying this thing. I mean, the Horde box in series mode has been working this thing great. I've been running some of my old favorite juice, Trip from Detroit Rock Candy, and getting a lot of the flavor that I remember. The top fill method, I love this top fill method where you just push down, quarter turn, pop the cap, fill it up, pop the cap right back on. You can do it in a matter of seconds. You don't have to unscrew anything. You don't have to line threads back up. It's really simple, really easy to use. I have not seen a rebuildable for this yet. I don't know if there's one coming or not because there's a rebuildable for the Triforce / Trifecta. So they might just be intending to keep that as their rebuildable tank and making this just a simple, easy, everyday user tank. I don't know. The packaging, I like the packaging. I like this tin. I'm probably going to turn it into a mod. We'll see. But I like the packaging. I like the tank. It's been really good. Everything's constructed and put together really, really well. I have seen this tank for $45 on eSiggity, but I got it directly from CCI. For some reason I was having trouble finding it on their site, but I will try to make sure that I find it and link it to their actual site since I did get it from them. Yeah, so I mean, I don't really have any complaints other than the airflow is so wide open that the coil doesn't seem to want to keep up at the wide open setting. But if you turn it down just a little bit, you're going to get the density that you were looking for. If you open it up wide open, I mean, more power to you. I vape it like that sometimes, but I usually turn it down a little bit to get that density that I'm looking for. Wide open again, it's just. I mean, the production is there. It's just not as dense. There's no other word for it, but the flavor is still there. The flavor is still good. So all in all, guys, I hope you found this video helpful. Like, subscribe, it helps me out. If you have any questions, anything I didn't address, something you want to say about your use of the tank, something maybe that you've discovered that I may have missed, leave it in the comments down below. Hope to see you guys again soon. Till then, keep on vaping.